million for you. I'm fighting Jake Paul.
Come on now, bro. All these pound-for-pound fighters are too scared to fight me. They need 200 million to do it.
You got 200.
Terence Crawford has made a surprising U-turn on Jake Paul's place in boxing. Now that Paul could step in as a possible replacement for Gervonta Tank Davis, Crawford says he's open to the fight, as long as everything falls into place. This shift is unexpected, especially since Crawford once dismissed Jake Paul as someone who didn't belong in the ring with real professionals. But it looks like the potential for a massive payday might have changed his perspective that first, Crawford couldn't stand what Jake represented, a YouTuber jumping into boxing, earning millions, and calling out lifelong fighters who had paid their dues. He even compared Jake to a circus act, accusing him of turning boxing into entertainment instead of true competition. Crawford was among the strongest voices insisting that Paul was disrespecting a sport built on patience, discipline, and years of sacrifice.
Yeah, like I seen him, up close in person. Like, dude is big. He's not as slow as people think he is, and he can punch. That's why a lot of people know, like, there was times where, him and Tyson was in.
But now, Crawford has completely changed his stance. The tone is different, and you can feel a new sense of respect growing. During his appearance on Logan Paul's podcast, Crawford actually admitted that he had judged Jake Paul too quickly, that he said, "Yeah, he's boxing. At first, I was against it. When people were criticizing you and your brother, I agreed. I thought you were just using your YouTube fame to jump into boxing and make easy money. Meanwhile, real fighters who've spent their whole lives in the sport barely earn a fraction of that. I felt it was disrespectful to us who've dedicated everything to boxing." That's coming from a man who once believed Jake Paul was nothing but bad news for the sport.
Tank ain't gonna lose this fight. Hell no. Hell no. Tank ain't losing this fight. Too many holes. Man, Jake don't have enough experience. Yeah, man, this gonna be taking candy from a baby. Jake is missing the rules. See, this is what happened when you don't grow up in the game. When you don't grow up in the game, man, at a young age, this is what happens,
Crawford's mindset didn't just flip overnight. It changed after he saw Jake Paul in action. What he witnessed wasn't a social media star pretending to fight, but someone training with real discipline. That's when things started to make sense. Crawford said, after watching him and seeing how seriously he's taking it, the training, the focus, the discipline, I realized this dude is getting better. And coming from Crawford, that's not something you hear often. He's undefeated, precise, and known for his ruthless attention to detail. So for him to admit that Jake Paul has earned his respect, that's a big statement. He's not calling Jake a top-tier fighter yet, but he's acknowledging that the work is real.
Ryan Garcia fights for DAZN, and Jake Paul fights on Netflix. I mean, that's pretty much the bottom line. Golden Boy has a contract with DAZN. Ryan Garcia has a contract with Golden Boy. And that's just the way it is. I mean, this is business. Ryan Garcia's probably going to go on a rant saying, "Oh, you're keeping me from making money and this and that and fighting." No, you have to go by the law, by the rules. You have a contract.
Crawford got to see it firsthand when he traveled to Puerto Rico to watch Jake Paul face Ryan Borland. That night, Jake delivered a clean knockout, and Crawford, who happened to be there for a convention, took notice that he said, "I was sitting there in Puerto Rico for his last fight against Borland, and I realized this dude can really hit with his right hand." Of course, Borland isn't a top-tier opponent, but for Crawford, every fight is a stepping stone, just like it is for any serious boxer. That moment clearly made him rethink Jake's potential in the sport.
The world would be the most lucrative thing for my career, and I think I was the only one who actually wanted to do it, and actually wanted to go all the way. And that's why I set the goal for myself early to become a world champion, set the bar extremely high.
Crawford has admitted that he now sees Jake Paul in a new light. He's not trying to skip steps or claim he's ready to face fighters like Usyk or Canelo just yet. Instead, Jake is taking on opponents that match his current level and improving with each fight. Crawford said, "A lot of people just want Jake Paul to fight Alexander Usyk, but that's not how it works. You have to earn your way up. And when I saw him live, I gained even more respect for him than I already had." That's a huge turnaround for someone who used to roll his eyes at the mention of Jake's name. Now, Crawford isn't just acknowledging Jake's efforts, he's even open to the possibility of stepping into the ring with him. And with Gervonta Davis possibly out of the fight, that door could be wide open.
All sorts of crazy stuff, guys. If this is true, I talk about just fumbling the bag. One of the biggest financial opportunities of his career, and he's about to ruin it. It's being reported that Jake's team is offering Ryan Garcia as a replacement for a...
When Crawford first heard the news of a potential clash between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis, he thought it was absolutely insane. And honestly, he had a point. The matchup is extreme. Jake weighs around 200 pounds, while Tank competes at 135. That's a massive difference. Still, Jake wasn't intimidated. In a Netflix interview, responding to Crawford's comment, he said, "This fight is crazy. It's two of America's biggest names in boxing, and it's a 50-50 matchup because of his skill and experience. But my size is the equalizer, and that's what makes this fight so intriguing. We don't know what's going to happen."
Look at Tank. Now, if you know what you're looking at, the guy must be around 150 right now, 153, something like that. And you can really tell when he's sideways. When you look at him sideways and see the depth. See, from the front view, you can't really tell. But when he turns sideways, the guy is a wrecking ball. He's literally a baby.
Classic Jake, confident, calculated, and always putting on a show. But then came the question that really got people talking. Would he fight Terence Crawford? Without missing a beat, Jake said, "I would 100% fight Terence. Let's run it." That's a matchup nobody saw coming. Crawford is 42-0, one of the best pound-for-pound fighters alive, and arguably the most complete boxer of his generation. But age is creeping up on him, while Jake is young, strong, and massive for his weight. From both a financial and attention-grabbing standpoint, it's a fight that makes total sense.
Knocked out. Yeah, really got knocked out. Watch the fight, you idiot. Went 12 rounds. Like, you're weird, bro. Bro didn't even knock me out or even throw punches. That's sad, bro. Just know, bro, I'm coming back. It's gonna be vicious. Like, you guys don't want to see that. You guys are weird trying to troll me over a fight I didn't even care.
From a legacy perspective, this fight is huge. And that's likely why both men are open to it. Jake even revealed that a bout with Canelo was almost finalized before the Mexican star pulled out and signed with Saudi boxing promoter Turki Al-Sheikh. He said, "I think the Canelo fight would still be massive for me. We're some of the biggest draws in boxing, and it would be an incredible challenge. But right now, my focus is on November 14th and getting through Tank first."
5'5" with a 67-inch arm reach. But as you can see here, he's working on his versatility. He's now working on fighting orthodox. He's naturally a southpaw. Now he's working on fighting orthodox.
With Tank possibly out, the question is, who steps in? Terence Crawford fits the bill perfectly, a fighter with respect, credibility, and unmatched technical skill. Jake brings the numbers, marketing power, and mainstream attention. Together, they're guaranteed to capture millions of eyes, and both fighters know that it's fascinating how quickly the landscape in boxing can change when timing and money align.
Do I think he beats Jake? Yeah. I mean,
it's a huge size advantage, though.
It is, but I think Tank got the skills to make sure he come out on top.
Do you think that Jake has gone better?
Yeah, I think actually Jake got tremendously better from the time frame that he started till now. And in the right situation, I also could see him become a world champion.
Just a year ago, Crawford wouldn't even mention Jake Paul's name in the same sentence as boxing. Today he says, "If everything aligns, I'd take that fight." It's no longer about disbelief, it's business. And honestly, it's easy to see why. Crawford has done it all. Undisputed titles in 2 weight classes, a flawless record, and pound-for-pound respect. There aren't many fights left that excite fans or pay him what he deserves. A matchup with Jake Paul could shatter pay-per-view records. At this stage, it's not about proving anything. It's about maximizing legacy and capitalizing while the moment is hot.
Going happen with a 135-pounder going up against a 200-pounder. I think it's not a real fight. Jake just too big. Tank ain't gonna be able to get in from that jab. Jake laying one good punch on him.
Jake's side is just as strategic. He knows that facing Crawford gives him a level of legitimacy that no victory over a retired MMA fighter could provide. Crawford is the real deal, and if Jake can hold his own, or even last the distance, his reputation in boxing would skyrocket.
It is, you know, the gloves. You understand what I'm saying? Because we don't fight in 12-ounce gloves. We don't use 12-ounce gloves. That's training gloves, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's 2 pounds away from...
Anthony Joshua has also weighed in, with 2 former UFC fighters, including Nate Diaz, being considered as potential replacements for Gervonta Davis. The biggest shocker was Joshua's name entering the conversation. After online speculation and playful back and forths, Eddie Hearn confirmed that discussions about a possible Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight have actually happened. Joshua's response? Simple and bold. Just let me know where and when.
Happening, all sorts of crazy stuff, guys. If this is true, I talk about just fumbling the bag. One of the biggest financial opportunities of his career, and he's about to ruin it. It's being reported that Jake's team is offering Ryan Garcia as a replacement.
That's the kind of line only Anthony Joshua can deliver. Straight-faced, no drama, just pure readiness. It wasn't a negotiation or a social media tease. It was a clear message from one of boxing's most recognizable heavyweights. If the business checks out, I'm in. Eddie Hearn explained that while the idea is exciting, making it happen isn't simple. There are still many hurdles, mostly on the business side. The main issue? Jake Paul is under contract with Netflix, while Joshua is signed with DAZN. The platforms are rivals, and unless they agree on a crossover deal, the fight can't progress past discussion. Without DAZN's approval or a mutually acceptable arrangement, the matchup simply can't move forward.
In serious peril. So much so that reports have been saying that, hey, Jake Paul's team have already started contacting fighters about being a replacement, whether it be for this November 14th date or maybe a date in December. And the 5 names they already contacted are some of the biggest names.
But here's where it gets serious. Eddie Hearn revealed that he's already spoken with Jake Paul's manager, Nikisa Bedarian, about the situation. This isn't fantasy matchmaking anymore. Real talks are happening. Hearn also confirmed that Joshua has been informed and responded immediately, showing his trademark confidence. Just let me know where and when. AJ said,
But when it comes to people that pick and lose fights, I can't get my head around it. If Tank hits him clean, he's going to sleep. He'll have a lot of smoke blowing up his backside by his coaching team and people like that, but when he gets hit for real, 10 ounce, well, I'm told it's 16 ounce gloves now, it's like an exhibition. Right. I'm told it's big.
Tank is a natural lightweight, while Jake walks around close to 200 pounds. It was always going to be a spectacle, maybe not the most logical matchup, but one that had fans talking nonstop. Now that the Davis fight might not happen, Jake's team is already exploring who could step into that headline spot. Jake didn't waste time confirming the buzz. Speaking to Sky Sports, he said the talks with Anthony Joshua are real. 100% it can happen. Our teams are already talking and working to try and make it happen next year.
I can look into it. I didn't, you know me, I don't really speak about stuff outside the ring, but now I have to since it affects the ring, okay, and what happens in the ring. The fight may be canceled. It's a civil suit. From my understanding, and I don't want to, confuse you guys or misinform you guys. I didn't look into it much.
Jake being Jake, he didn't stop there. He added, it would be fun to take on Anthony Joshua after this fight, take a massive risk, a massive challenge, and go into a fight where no one thinks I have the slightest chance of winning. That excites me. That's vintage Paul chasing the impossible with a straight face. If he fights Joshua, it could be one of the biggest boxing events of the decade. Competitively, it's insane. Joshua, 6 feet, 6 inches, 250 pounds, Olympic gold medalist, 2-time unified heavyweight champion. Jake, despite all his improvement, is still a cruiserweight level fighter with fewer than 10 pro bouts. Yet he's fearless, and that's why people keep watching.
No, it's early. Less than 2 weeks, no fighter is going to take that. There will be no fight if it isn't Tank Davis on November 14th. As this moment, there has been no cancellation, but it seemingly is in the direction of Tank Davis not fighting Jake Paul on the 14th. So no fighter, legitimate fighter, is going to step in on 2 weeks' notice.
Not everyone is impressed. Former UFC champion Michael Bisping didn't hold back. Speaking on YouTube, he said there's no sympathy for Jake scrambling to replace Gervonta Davis. Bisping argued the hype around the Paul Davis fight was mostly curiosity. Fans wanted to see how Tank's skill matched up with Jake's size. Without Davis, that hype just isn't there.
It would be there's such a big weight discrepancy there, right? That's what some people...
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Tank probably sparred like heavyweights or light heavyweights and things like that.
Damn,
so
really?
It's probably nothing that he never seen before. I'm pretty sure Jake never fought nobody that little.
No, it's good.
So
that's the fascinating part about it.
I feel like it's more like, so harder for Jake to fight a smaller.
Bisping also criticized Jake's choice of opponents. Every fight raises questions about legitimacy. Retired MMA fighters, aging boxers, or names past their prime. It's entertainment, not elite competition. Even though Jake has improved, Bisping doesn't see him stepping into the ring with someone truly dangerous like Francis Ngannou.
Fight is off. The Jake Paul team have now reached out to Anthony Joshua, Floyd Mayweather, Ryan Garcia and Edgar Berlanga to replace Tank Davis, who is being sued for a...
He explained, Ngannou nearly shocked the world against Tyson Fury. He's massive, explosive, and carries real knockout power against elite heavyweights. Jake might be bold, but the risk-to-reward ratio is absurd.
Is this really the case? It has been reported by a couple of online periodicals, and if this is the case, then it says something about influencer, crossover and exhibition boxing. Because the reports are that the Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis fight is light by 6,000 tickets.